This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com. Welcome to FilmRiot Mondays. Today we're busting out some questions, some answers, and some gear. Could you show us some cool transitional effects that hide cuts between scenes? I usually like to use audio to cut between scenes. I mean, if you really pay attention to the show, whenever we do sketches or anything of the like, I use audio to make a cut work. If it's a smash cut, that would be awkward otherwise. There's usually some kind of audio element, a rise and then fall. I did that a lot in Tell as well because I freaking hate fades. If I can get away with not using a fade, I do my best not to. Sometimes it makes sense to do them. In Tell, I do a fade in when Todd's coming back to consciousness, so it actually made sense with his psyche. He was coming to, so we were coming to too. So there was a reason to do it, but I hate fades. I hate cross dissolves, and I hate fade in and fade outs. I mean, in school they told us, the editor was telling us that he would tell every client, you get 4 fades and then you're done. You're not allowed any more than 4 fades, which is a good principle. If you like fades, fine. Just freaking keep them to a bare minimum. I find personally the best way to do it is through audio or some kind of movement like a swish pan or something like that. Can you explain what beat is? I've seen it in several screenplays, but I don't know what it means. I know it's very basic, but hey, help me out here. I actually use beat all the time. Basically, it just means pause, a moment of silence. So if you were to say beat in the dialogue, something like, hey man, come here, but you put come here in between them, it'd be, hey man, come here. So it's just giving it a moment. Sometimes it punctuates, you know, silent tension. It just depends on how you use it, what the context is, but pause, basically, is what it means. Hey, Riot guys, is it critical to hand out release forms? Thank you. Yes, they are absolutely critical. If you're filming anywhere or anyone, you need release forms. If you're shooting at a location and it's visible at all what this location is, use a release form. If you have anybody's face in your project at all, use a release form. You need permission, otherwise it could possibly come back to bite you in the butt. I mean, most of the time, most people put videos up on YouTube. They're not getting hundreds of thousands of views, so you're safe. But what if your video goes viral? You got to think that way because you never know when something's going to hit. Make sure you get release forms because if all of a sudden one of your videos gets 1 million views, you start making money off of it, people are paying attention, and then somebody calls you saying take it down, they don't want to be in the video, and you don't have a release form, you're screwed. This has almost happened to us. It was a location situation. We didn't get release forms because we trusted the people, and we almost got big time screwed. No, I can't go into it, so don't ask me on Twitter. I can't talk about it. But luckily it worked out. So learn from us, release form. What is your thoughts on the Netflix original series, House of Cards? Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it. I wish I could pull it out of Netflix, turn it into some kind of liquid, and use it to moisturize my body. Is that weird, or do you get what I'm saying? No, you get where I'm coming from? I understand. Also, I think it's Kevin Spacey's best role. Yeah. I personally think this is the best I've ever seen him. I love everything. The writing is amazing. I love the look at it. It's so cinematic. I think Netflix absolutely freaking knocked this thing out of the park. Yeah. It's like, what, 4 million per episode, too? It's like 100 million series or something like that. Yeah. I read. Absolutely excellent series. If you have not watched House of Cards on Netflix, by God, what are you doing? Go do it. And if you don't have Netflix, I mean, they're not sponsoring the show, but you can get that 30-day free trial just to watch House of Cards and then bail if you don't want it, but watch House of Cards. It is so freaking good. So if you're looking to start a business about selling business ideas, like, hear me out, because I have a plethora of amazing business ideas. What if I want to start a website to sell said business ideas? You guys have heard me say a couple of them on the show, but I gotta tell you, that's the tip of the iceberg, my friend. There's a lot of ideas in here. Well, if I want to make a website to sell my business ideas to start your business, I would use Domain.com to get my hosting and my domain name up and running. Why? Because 1, they got the best hosting plans around, and 2, because they got the domain discovery service. So if I'm like, I need a name for my business selling site, they'll hook me up with like, I sell my idea of business because I got the best business ideas ever.com. And if you want to save money when starting your website, you can use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout to save yourself 15%. So you're saving money and you're starting a business. Good for you. So today I wanted to talk about this bad boy, the Filmmaker pouch, I like to call it. This one's from Husky. I got it from Home Depot. It's really not that expensive, but every indie filmmaker should have this when they go out to shoot. I always keep it on my hip when I am shooting run and gun stuff because you keep stuff in it that you absolutely need. Now everybody's gonna keep some stuff slightly different in it, but for me, the absolute musts are an Allen key set, which is great when you're using any kind of Kessler gear or any kind of audio gear on your camera. There's usually some kind of Allen situation happening. Probably the #1 most important is a Leatherman of some kind. This is like a Swiss Army knife for big boys. You have just about anything you would need is going to be in one of these. I absolutely love these things. A wall tester. This is when you're going to different locations. This thing, you stick this end into an outlet. It's going to tell you if there's power or not. Put it up against a wick of some kind, a whip of some kind. It's going to tell you if you're running power. It's going to help you solve a lot of issues if one of your lights are not working. Small screwdrivers. Now, you got screwdrivers on your Leatherman, but small screwdrivers come in handy way more often than you think. Sometimes things need battery changed, and then you go to find out freaking who, like what Oompa Loompa made this thing with the tiniest. Another outlet tester. This tests the current. You put one in hot, one in the neutral. Another outlet tester. The reason I love this one is you put this into the outlet and you can figure out what's on what circuit. So if you have several lights, say I have my 1Ks. My 1K each is going to take about 10 amps. So you can find out how much each outlet is going to take. Usually you're thinking about 20 to 15 amps. You pop this thing into an outlet and you have somebody go in the circuit breaker, turn it on and off. You find out how many outlets are on the same circuit. That way you don't overload and trip things while you're trying to shoot. So this thing is probably my #2 in my pouch. And that's pretty much it. You should also have a marker in it, but I don't currently have a marker. I use markers all the time, and then you could also drape some tape from it. So get yourself a Filmmaker pouch and fill it with all the things that you definitely need. Hang it from your hip with pride. That's it for today, which means it's time for my short film suggestion of the week. This one is another animated short film called The Reward, done completely without dialogue. They tell a really great story with a really good message to it that I dug a lot. Plus, I love the style. It is very strange and quirky and all over the place. I dig it. Definitely check it out. It has some great pacing and a lot to learn about story-wise. So check that out. I lost my train of thought for a minute there. I'll see you next week.